Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, there are only two boxes on the screen. If you are watching us, that is. Hello, my name is Rod Morgan, the host of the Morgan You Know podcast. The executive producer of this podcast and co-host Jimmy Jamriska is not with us this evening. There's going to be a few less bells and whistles for you live watchers, but some of these things will still be put in post. That is the beauty of podcast. And joining me to help me do that is my dear friend, the old man, the third wheel of this podcast, if you will. And I don't even mean that in a bad way. He's just the third man of this podcast. He's our guy, Chris King. Chris, hello.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. I mean, we don't have a semi-professional producer on our hands, so we're leaning heavily on you, Rod, as the semi-professional podcasting host.
That's right. We got a semi-professional host and we got a semi-professional analyst, but we are sure to have total fun. There will be nothing semi about the fun we have around here. But Chris, unfortunately, we'll get to the fun after we start with something else here. Tiger Woods. We talked about him last week triumphantly. We were excited to see him play for TGL, and it has been nothing but basically downhill for Tiger Woods since then. He has announced recently that he will not be the captain of the Ryder Cup team in 2027. I saw that come across the wires just a little while ago. I saw that he's going to be allowed to leave the country to seek treatment, Chris, because he was arrested for DUI. What did you think when you first saw all this Tiger news start coming across your wavelength?
It's unfortunate that and I'm not going to just keep it on Tiger, like right in general, it is unfortunate that we see people that have these problems continue to have those problems over and over again. And usually not just twice. Sometimes it takes 3 times before people realize or hit that rock bottom, so to speak, so to realize they need to get help and get treatment, right? So I guess I'm not that surprised, right? I wish it didn't happen, but when you're dealing with an illness like that, it's unfortunate. And when you have Tiger's money, go to the best place in the world, not just America.
That's a very good point there. I couldn't help but think a little bit about privilege there, right? Certainly not everybody is going to get the opportunity to be released by the law to do that or have the money to do that, right? I also think that addiction, as you mentioned, is a terrible, terrible thing. Many of us have been touched by it in different ways in our lives, be it something ourselves or certainly someone in our own family. So I want Tiger to get well. I'm sad for what it means for the world of golf, right? Selfishly, here is just a guy who likes to host a weekly podcast with his buddies. I loved watching Tiger Woods play golf. Some of my favorite sports memories of my entire life came from Tiger Woods. One of the last times I cried about a sporting event, Chris, was when he won his last Masters back in 2019. And I think those days are probably gone and away from us. And I couldn't help but think of this, and I'm going to throw it back to you here. When you get to the reach levels Tiger Woods does, don't you think it's ultimately tough for anybody probably in his life to call him to the carpet and tell him he has a problem, right? I mean, when you get, nothing but sycophants around you and basically anywhere you go, fans adore you. You have millions upon millions of dollars. The only people around you work for you or making money off of you in some way. I just couldn't help but think, like, I wonder when the last time Tiger Woods got some real, genuine, good advice from a friend was.
I'm not sure, but I don't think I buy that theory when it comes to Tiger, or we shouldn't, right? Think about who Tiger's dad was. Tiger is a man of discipline, right? You would expect Tiger to be able to have discipline over these types of urges and to know when he is getting too full of himself or indestructible or whatever it may be. That's not who I was kind of led to believe was Tiger, or the way Tiger was raised by his dad. His dad was a military guy, right? So like there is discipline instilled in him. He wouldn't have been this good if it wasn't for that. So I do think that can happen. We see that happen to a lot of younger athletes, especially. I expect more out of Tiger. I'll put it that way. I expect more out of him.
Oh, that's definitely a great thing to say, Chris. And I don't want this to come across like I'm trying to make excuses for Tiger here, because I certainly am not. He's responsible for his own behavior. I just worry that a guy, right? It's like they say it's lonely at the top. You know what I mean? I mean, like, it's like a billionaire athlete. You know what I mean? Like, I I just wonder how many people could have a couple of years ago, right? Because clearly this thing's been going on for a while now, right? If we're to believe what reports are out there, he blew a 0.0, Chris, but he was still booked for under the influence. So that basically means one thing, right? He was probably taking some type of painkiller, right? And we all know that he's had problems with his back, with his knees, this surgery, that surgery. Again, not making an excuse, but somebody in his life, maybe before we got here again, could have pulled him aside and said, Tiger, my guy, let's get a hold of this. And I just worry that he doesn't have anybody like that. And I hope that he just gets people around him now and gets himself right. And we don't have to hear about when Tiger Woods is going to come back and play golf. As sad as that makes me, I think that's probably what's best for him.
We may not see him until he's pushing 60 and he plays in the Champions League.
I think that's a good call, Chris. Let's move on to something else surprising, but this time surprising in a good way. We know we talked about the World Baseball Classic, that the jingoism of being for the United States to try to win the World Baseball Classic brought me back to baseball a little bit. I was kind of like, hey, I remember these rhythms. A pitcher up on the mound throwing the ball and a batter trying to get a hit. And okay, that's cool. So I've been checking back on baseball a little bit, dipping my toes in the water. Haven't watched a game as of yet. I will fully admit that, but I was checking in on things that were happening opening day. And Chris, I have two main points that I want to ask you about. The first is 3 letters, and it came up all weekend long. And I'm going to just need you to clarify for me exactly what it is, because as of right now, my understanding is there's a thing called ABS where batters can just challenge strikes whenever they want to by touching the top of their helmet, but you only get 2 a game. Am I right on any of that?
Okay, you're pretty close. It's not just batters, the pitchers can do it as well. So if your home plate umpire calls a strike and the batter doesn't think it was a strike, they think it was too low or too outside, they will tap their helmet twice, right? If they are successful, you don't lose it. You'll still have 2. Actually, I think it's 3. You get 3, not 2. But you keep those, and you can continue to do that if you are right. Now, the pitchers can also do that. If they throw a good pitch that they think was in the zone, but it was called a ball, they can tap their head. You have to do it immediately. It's a quick judgment call. I like it. Now, there was a game last week between the Cincinnati Reds and the Boston Red Sox that this came up quite a bit. That home plate umpire was challenged 8 times, and they were successful 5 of them. And he was considerably off. If anybody out there watches John Boy Media, he did a little quick thing on him, and he had a total number of pitches to be able to call at 84. So there's 84 called pitches where there were no swings or anything, right? He was wrong on 20 of those, but he only got called out on 8. Oof. Or essentially 5. So they could have been calling him out a whole lot more. He was having a bad night. So this is going to help, I think, umpires be more consistent, be more fair, not start expanding zones or narrowing zones. It'll get really consistent, because that umpire on that Red Sox game was pissed. He was getting hot that people kept saying, no, I don't think you made the right call. You could just see it in his eyes every time. Another helmet tap. He was just getting hotter and hotter. It was hilarious.
So I have a couple of questions here. You said excuse me, man, something got in my throat there. Any batter or pitcher can do it at any time. That to me seems awfully dangerous because of what we've talked about in the NBA, about how every single time anybody in the NBA gets fouled or commits a foul, they do the whirly bird. You know what I mean? And then it's up to the coaches on the sideline to figure out, do we or do we not do it? So you're saying any guy, right? He's like, I don't like that. I can tap my helmet. So guys can tap their helmet in the first inning, the first pitch of the game. A guy can tap his helmet.
Yeah, but that comes with coaching, Rod. You're not gonna tell your defensive second baseman that bats 8th, like, hey.
Okay, so you think there's certain guys that are told ahead of time, you better not tap your helmet ever.
Right, I'm sure there's some guys that get free reign. I think, and then also, especially in that Red Sox game that I watched, it was a lot of like, hey, this was going to be strike 3, but it was a ball. And I have a guy on third, right? So that's coaching. Like, hey, this is situational. But yeah, and then
Those I
also,
totally get. I'm all for that in the game. I just worry that like when you give an athlete a chance, right, to prove that they are right, they're probably going to always do that, right? Because athletes are basically predetermined by notion to think that they never do anything wrong.
right? But if they only get 3 chances and they're wrong those 3 times, right? That's going to look bad on you. And then you're not going to want to keep doing it. So you got to
I
be
see what you're
selective,
saying. So coaching
just
is
like
going
in
to come in by the
football.
end of the year, right? They're going to be able to track this, and they'll probably be able to start to tell a guy like, "Hey, like your tendency when you tap your helmet's not actually that good. Let's try to be a little bit more selective." I
And
wonder about our guy.
and
Okay,
we can get even deeper like Williams would be like, "Hey, this umpire is more likely to be off, and so we are more likely to challenge his calls than we would be another guy."
that's exactly where I was going to go. Look at that, almost like we've been podding together for a little while. I wonder how much our guy Williams is studying these things, how much he's looking at if this umpiring crew is working with this team. You know what I mean? Like this has just got to be another thing that he's putting in the Williams supercomputer over there. Which, by the way, Chris, what do you picture the Williams supercomputer to look like?
Have you ever seen the movie Lucy with Scarlett Johansson? She
Yes.
turns into this weird computer at the end of it. That's what I envisioned. Something ultra futuristic that we've never seen before, right? And it's just like looking into an empty black hole galaxy. Like it's not even looking like real matter. It's something beyond our comprehension. The amount of detailed ref stats that he's somehow able to find is insane.
It's not even true matter. It's beyond our comprehension is an excellent answer for what the Williams supercomputer looks like. All right, Chris, another part of our checking in on baseball is always going to be a Cubs update. We know a bunch of our Cub fan friends are out there. We're going to get to that in just 1 second. But Chris, one other baseball thing came across my timeline, and it came across my timeline hard. And that was one Mason Miller walking out of the bullpen for, is it San Diego, Chris? Is he a Padre? Am I right about that?
Yeah, he's a Padre.
Yeah, he's walking out of the bullpen in San Diego. Lights go down. People start flickering everywhere, and Corn's Blind is playing. Are you ready? Kicks at one point. Oh, I mean, it was just absolutely fabulous. So tell me, are more and more guys doing this now? Like, does everybody have a theme song? Is everybody WWEing their closer entrance now, like Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn?
It's becoming more frequent. I'm not 100% sure if it's everybody yet, but I think you're seeing the big name guys starting to do it a little bit more, especially when they have a little bit more of an attitude. There was the guy from the Mets the other year or two ago that was coming out to that with the trumpets and everything.
I think it's the
And
national
it was,
anthem. I think it's the national anthem of that dude's country. It's Diaz, right? Who's a Dodger now, and I think he's
yeah,
still doing it.
I'm sure it is, right? Because I'm ignorant when it comes to that. So, but that was also really huge and it gets the crowd into it, and if you're major leagues and you want this to be fun and engaging, you're going to kind of need some of that showmanship type stuff, especially later in games. And the crowd was pumped for that intro. If you guys haven't watched it, go to YouTube, Facebook, wherever you want to, and it'll be there. And you're right, Rod, the lights go out and you hear that guitar and it's just like this energy starts coming up and he starts jogging in the dark and then almost at the mound and is, "Are you ready?" And it's just awesome.
It is now officially the second coolest clip I have ever seen with Corn's Blind behind only their performance at Woodstock 99, which just looks like the seventh circle of hell with like 100,000 people crawling all over one another, dirty, in the dark, things breaking and burning with Corn on stage, headbanging, screaming at everybody. Look that one up too. That was an awful lot of fun. So, Chris, how did our Cubbies do to start out the season?
Well, we've had 2 series so far, Rod, with the Nationals and the Angels, and we have won one series and lost the other. We lost the series to the Nationals, and we won the series against the Angels. Right? Would have liked to see. Really should have won the series against the Nationals, but our bats were a little bit cold to start off in that series. I think at least the first game and the third game. Got 10 runs in the second. You know, typical Cubs, right? We'll get 10 runs in a game, and then we can't score any the next.
I saw that they re-signed Pete Crow Armstrong, so perhaps Tom Ricketts is finally ready to spend a little bit of money around the Cubs. We'll see. Exciting. Baseball's back. I am not willing to completely Shut it
Rod,
out.
we got one more thing. We talked about it last week. You don't understand why this guy is so important or so compelling, but I gotta tell you, he's already starting this year, right? He came out first game pitching, 6 innings shutout baseball. All right, that was your MVP for offense last year, coming out and pitching 6 no-hit innings in his first outing.
Oh, is this Shohei? Is this the
Shohei
Shohei
Ohtani.
update?
Yep,
Jimmy's got to
you're
get
gonna have
us
to get
another
used to
graphic
that
for
too.
that. Yeah, we're gonna have to get a graphic for the journey to Rodtober. We're gonna have to get Chris's obligatory Shohei update. Right? I just gave the big voice intro for it right there.
How many years have I've been hounded on Shohei that you've been
That's what I
hating me
mean.
for it?
Well, you've got video evidence going years back. When I was even trying to ban baseball, you were still bringing it up. So you definitely get all of the Shohei points. There's no doubt about that. But we'll pepper baseball in periodically, Chris, because the main sport that you, me, and Jimmy like to focus on this time of year is rolling into the playoffs. We only have a handful of regular season games left for all of our NBA friends. So let's take a look. The fast break. You and me are going to have to run it, though, Chris. Will it be as fast without Jimmy? Will it still be? Will it still be a technical fast break?
Let's find out.
All right. I did write down in our rundown that we were going to start with the playoff picture. We're going to get to the playoff picture in just a second. Let's start here. Because, yeah, you and I could debate Wembanyama and SGA over and over and over again like every other podcast in the world. That's fine. Chris, I don't think enough people are debating who is going to win Rookie of the Year. So I'll just start by asking you, Chris, if you had a vote, who are you giving Rookie of the Year to right now?
I got to ask this as a clarifying because I don't know. Do they have to reach 65 games played for Rookie of the Year like the other guys do? So Flag is eligible for Rookie of the Year, right? Okay, so this is where it's tough, right? Do I go there or do I go to that kid in Golden State who is just all of a sudden like a world beater from three that's just going crazy? Wait, not Golden State. Oh my word.
Charlotte. Con
Thank you. Yes. Wow.
That's all
Maybe
right.
it's just because I'm used to Golden State hitting threes, but yeah, that kid is phenomenal.
We bring you in as the old man. You know who you're talking about. He played at Duke, right? Con Knipple. They were even roommates at one point in their lives, and now they are battling for Rookie of the Year. Con's put up ridiculous 3-point numbers. I think Cooper Flag's going to end up being the better overall player, right? Like I think higher ceiling belongs to Cooper Flag. But Chris, I ask you, does that matter in Rookie of the Year?
I think it should, but what I say is I got to give it. I think it should, but I still think I got to give it to the kid from Charlotte. All right,
okay,
because you want to know what Charlotte's able to do that Dallas isn't. Get into the play-in game.
Of course, it's got to come back to tanking for you. How did I not know that this would somehow pepper into your answer?
I'm just saying, Charlotte has made themselves a playoff contender, right?
He's playing a lot more games that matter. That's for sure.
Right, and he's played a lot more games. Period. To me, that matters as well. So I think I got to give him the edge, and I also kind of think it may be fair to give him that because we know Flag will get his accolades as his career goes on.
I like that. I like that you're willing to admit that you think that factors in a little bit because believe it or not, I kind of do as well, right? I'd love to sit here and say that the Rookie of the Year should just be who is a rookie who has the best year. That'd be great. But the problem with that, in my opinion, is you get Malcolm Brogdon, right? You get Michael Carter Williams, Chris. These are two men who won Rookie of the Year in the NBA, right? And is anybody going to write home about their careers? No, right? So I think
didn't Michael Redd win Rookie of the Year once too?
I have. How dare you? How dare you take a shot at the Iowa State Buckeye legend, Michael Redd? How dare you? Or was he Wisconsin? Did he play Wisconsin?
It was Wisconsin.
Oh, see,
it was a red and white school.
Exactly. I knew it was a red uniform. He was a Bo Ryan assassin, wasn't he? God, Bo Ryan killed the Hoosiers all the time. Shout out to Bo Ryan. Those were the days. But I just think that, so I like that you admit that you don't want to live in a world where Wembanyama didn't win Rookie of the Year, right? You don't want to live in a world where Cooper Flag doesn't win Rookie of the Year. So I like that you admitted that you would vote for it. But Con, in addition to playing all those games that matter, is putting up ridiculous rookie stats. We've never seen a rookie shoot a three-pointer like this. And I mean, we're talking Steph Curry's played in the league, and Con Knipple's shooting better as a rookie than he did.
We saw Klay Thompson make all NBA for having a worse 3-point shooting season than what this kid's having.
And his defense isn't completely Matador, right? Like, you're not going to write home about Con Knipple or is he ever going to make an all-defensive team, but I think his defense is serviceable enough. But there, I think, is an argument you could give to Cooper. His defense is really, really good. I think Cooper could make an all-defensive team someday. And if Wembanyama didn't exist in the same state he exists in, maybe even defensive player. But nobody's ever going to win that award again as long as Wembanyama's eligible.
Right. I will say this. Like, I was actually, when I was researching Victor for last week's pod, I was surprised that his stocks were only at 4. I really thought he was getting more than 4 blocks a game, let alone blocks plus steals. Like, I would like to see that. I mean, but it's the great cornerback question from football, right? This guy didn't have any passes deflected or anything, but they also didn't throw his way. People are avoiding Victor like the plague when they get into the paint, so he's not going to have the same opportunities as normal, I don't think, for blocks.
I think the other big problem with Victor, too, and we can touch on the NBA MVP race here, is Victor's only playing about 29 minutes a game, right? I think if he was playing closer to 34 to 36 minutes a game, he'd be getting those bigger stock numbers right there because just by sheer length of his wingspan, he'd probably walk.
I did not look up his per 48 averages. I did not do that. So you may be right. If you go per 48 or even per 36, right, which I think they use for prospectives or a couple of the other ones, per 36 is probably a lot better too. And you're right. They're not playing him enough because they want him healthy. They want him to get his MVP award.
And I think they've lost 2 games since the All-Star break. So who are we to argue with what they're doing? You know what I mean? Like, the Thunder have lost 1 game since the All-Star break, and they can't get clear of the Spurs. It's absolutely ridiculous out in the West. And speaking of ridiculous standings, Chris, let's go over a little bit of those right now. We're in the West. Let's go to the West standings where we know what's going to happen at the top. We understand that Oklahoma City and San Antonio are going to be 1 and 2. Maybe San Antonio catches Oklahoma City, but I don't think at this point. Chris, are you willing to say that the Lakers are locked in at 3, or do you think somebody still might be able to catch them?
I mean, I think I am, Rod. I think I'm ready to lock him in as a 3. We saw LeBron get a triple-double the other night, right?
Yeah, he's playing ridiculous.
And so's Luka. Yeah. Right now, if you ask me, Luka's number 2 in MVP voting.
Wow, really?
The way he's played especially the second half of the season, and think about how much weightlifting he had to do to keep the Lakers in this playoff position.
I can't say that I disagree with you, but who do you put third then?
I think I got to put Victor third.
Okay. All right. So the minutes played. Listen, you're a minutes played guy. You're all about that. I don't blame you there. Okay. Houston Rockets, Chris. You and I have talked for a couple of weeks about how the vibes seem off in Houston, yet they're 41-26 ahead of Denver right now, just barely, ahead of Minnesota right now, just barely, and Phoenix a few games behind that. So it looks as if Phoenix is locked into being in the play-in. Clippers, Golden State, Portland look to be locked into the play-in. But Chris, Houston, Denver, Minnesota. How do you see that shaking out?
Denver with the 4, Minnesota with the 5, Houston with the 6.
Really? So you think even though Houston right now sits at 3rd, they're going to drop back, huh?
Well, I don't think they're in 3rd. According to what I'm looking at right here, they're in 6th because they have 2 less wins than Denver does and 1 loss more than Denver does. And they are sitting with the same record as the T-Wolves right now at 46-29.
I got these stats are way off. Goodness gracious. Let me go to these then. So I don't usually
but I think
stats guy.
I think Phoenix is locked into the 7 spot. I don't think they have a chance of catching.
Yeah, that much I was right about.
But
no, you're right. It looks like the Nuggets. Yep, 48-28. Lakers 3rd, Rockets 6th. All right. Yeah, all right. Okay, so the Rockets, Timberwolves, they'll play April 10th, Chris. They are tied at 1-1. Whoever wins that game then has the tiebreaker. You don't like Houston's chances in that game to maybe then leapfrog them?
Well, let's see. So you could be looking at I mean, if you're Houston, who would you rather play? Would you rather play the Lakers or the Nuggets?
I think you'd probably rather play the Lakers, as crazy as that sounds. I just think you have you're going to have much more trouble dealing with Jokic than you're going to have trying to corral Luka a little bit. And God bless Austin Reeves, but like I don't know, in the playoffs, really, LeBron is still LeBron. But if I'm Houston, I'm probably want the Lakers over Denver because Jokic is just that much
Is that
of a
the
killer.
Lakers? Is that the Lakers' Achilles heel? What Reeves can do in the playoffs when everything's ratcheted up a little bit more?
That very well could be, right? And then also we're relying on DeAndre Ayton still for an awful lot in Los Angeles, and that can be trouble, right? Marcus Smart is the fifth starter out there, and God bless Marcus for his time as the Celtics, but he's been injury prone basically since Boston got rid of him. Again, Chris, we've made this joke before. If Brad Stevens calls you and offers you a trade, you probably don't want it because the guy that Brad Stevens is offering you is probably going to break down at the end of that.
Well, if you're Denver, you want Houston. That's for sure.
Anybody in the West should want Houston. If I'm anybody in the West, I want Houston right now.
You don't want Minnesota if you're Denver.
No, because Minnesota's also owned Denver in the past anyway in the playoffs. We've
right?
seen this picture before.
They were essentially built to beat Denver more than anybody else.
All right, so let's go over to the East then, Chris, and try to do the same thing we have here. The Knicks had a huge chance last evening. They win the game last evening, coming off of the Celtics losing a game to the Hawks on Monday. The Knicks are only a game and a half back. Losing that game, they stayed 2.5 back. I think the Celtics have locked in the 2. I think the Knicks have probably locked in the 3 because, Chris, if I'm the Cavaliers, I want to stay at 4, don't you?
I think I'd rather play the Raptors if I'm Cleveland than I would Atlanta.
But don't you think the Raptors are ultimately going to get to 5?
I don't know, right?
The Raptors are they're tied with them now in the loss column, Chris, at 33. So the Raptors got 2 games to make up.
I like the heat behind Atlanta right now. I know we talked about it last week. I know their schedule wasn't that strong, but having a winning streak and going on a run like they have at the end of the season, getting that momentum working in the right direction can give a team a lot of push into the playoffs. So I think Atlanta's going to get the 5 seed.
That Atlanta's schedule gets a little tougher down the stretch here. They played a bunch of the tankers to get that huge 14, 15 game winning streak that they ran off recently. They're going to play a tougher schedule coming down the end. But hey, they just beat the Celtics last night. So that will be interesting. I think the Heat, Chris, they're going to be fine in the 9-10 game. And I'll tell you why. Because in the 9-10 game, do you know who you're going to play, Chris?
The Orlando You're going to play Magic. Charlotte.
No, you're going to play the Orlando Magic.
You think Atlanta's going to fall that far?
Absolutely. They already have fallen that far. Right now, the 7-8 game is the 76ers and the Hornet, and the 9-10 game is the Magic and the Heat. And the Magic just went on
I didn't realize we were in a 3-way tie for 8, 9, and 10.
Oh, yeah. And the Magic just had a 31-0 run given up by them the other night against the Raptors, and they got beat by like 50. I think Orlando's quick.
They were going to be brought up a little bit later.
Yeah. Excellent. All right, good. Then we won't belabor Orlando. All right, so that's a little bit of the playoff picture there. We talked about the Rookie of the Year. Chris, I have a bit of a Rod Damnation that's going to then lead into a question I have for you. So if you will allow me, I will do that right now. We'll lay out for a second so Jimmy Jam can insert the great Rod Damnation intro here in post. All right. Rod Damnation this week is for somebody who, unfortunately, I've had to make the subject of my Rod Damnation many times before. But this gentleman, and I will call him a gentleman because he presents himself well in public. He's a lawyer. He's a smart businessman, but he makes wrong calls when it comes to league play and the fans of the NBA many times. And that person is Adam Silver. Adam Silver's, you're in the crosshair again for Rod Damnation. It has to do with NBA expansion. You basically just came out the other day and you said, hey, Seattle, Los Angeles, congratulations. You're getting an NBA team. Maybe we're going to talk about you guys getting expansion. We just wanted you to know that you're the finalists, that we're going to talk about you maybe being able to get an expansion team. What Adam Silver is not saying to the people of Seattle, Chris, is that they aren't guaranteed a team because as of right now, the NBA doesn't have enough votes to expand. Also, there's no set price right now for what the NBA will take for an expansion team. And I'm hearing a lot through Bill Simmons and other podcasts that there's a lot of trouble getting money together to be the Seattle bid in the first place. So Adam Silver, my guy, how dare you do this to the people of Seattle? You weren't wholly responsible for them losing their team, but you were in the league office during the time it all went down. And now you're basically dangling in front of them that they may get a team again. And they're up in Seattle, not smart enough to realize all of the fine print here. Tisk, tisk, Adam Silver. Not cool that you made it seem like Seattle was going to get a team. And then when you read the fine print, it actually seems like the NBA is not going to expand. Chris, do you have any thoughts on this expansion news that's broke recently?
Nothing would make me happier than seeing another Supersonics team up in Seattle. I have a lot of fond memories of those 90s Supersonics teams. You had Gary Payton, Sean Kemp. They made some great runs in the Western Conference playoffs. I really enjoyed those teams. I wish that okay, so bear with me, Rod. I brought this up in the offline TMYK chat this week about the SAVE Act that's getting pushed through Congress, right? In that SAVE Act, it talks about the local communities able to be able to band together and essentially purchase the franchise before it gets relocated and have it set up really like what Green Bay is set up as, was where the season ticket holders are essentially the owners but not the operators of said franchise. And if the NBA is really wanting to expand but having trouble finding what they want as a franchise fee or funding or anything else like that, then put something together where this community can come up and be like, okay, well, us as the local fans want to group together and create bonds to be able to buy so we can become part owners of this franchise and keep it local, or the local governments can put together local business groups and or whatnot. Give us more options, I guess is what I'm saying. I want another team in Seattle, but give us more options to get that team there and not just come out and say, hey, I kind of want to do this, but it's up to everybody else to figure out how.
It's up to everyone else to figure out how is a great way to put it there. And I got to be honest, I think I've backtracked on expansion a little bit here. I think the NBA needs to figure out their schedule. I think the NBA needs to figure out tanking. Like, I don't want to add two more teams to the league that are going to give up the last 15 games of the year. You know what I mean? The last 20 games of the year, like 10 to 14% of the league is done right now. So I also want the NBA to figure out, should they have a team in New Orleans and Memphis? I mean, honestly, I don't mean any offense, but if you're having trouble selling tickets in those markets and you don't have a huge TV contract or TV revenue coming in, like, should there be a team there? Like, I don't deny that Seattle needs a team, but like, does Memphis and New Orleans have to have one? It actually seems like the people of New Orleans wouldn't even mind if the Pelicans left. So maybe there's a way that Seattle can get a team without the NBA actually expanding, because I think there's a few more problems Adam Silver and his friends should figure out before they add two more teams to the league.
No, you're not wrong about that.
You know what else I'm not wrong about, Chris? You're about to give everybody the Kings hardwood hierarchy.
Thank you, Jimmy. Okay, right. This is pretty boring for the most part because we're going to stay in the West. Like I know we are fans in the East, I know you love your Celtics and we have an affinity for the Pistons, right? But we know what's going on out there. Maybe I squeezed the Hawks in again, but I'm not going to do that. They weren't on their winning streak, right? So it's the Thunder, the Spurs, and then the Lakers in that order. You want to know why, Rod? For one, they're all 9-1 in their last 10. These are the top three teams in the league as far as I'm concerned right now, and they are having the best record throughout the past 10 games in the league right now. They're strongest going into the playoffs. That's your king, queen, and prince.
It's up to the Lakers defense. I think you're absolutely right that they look like one of the best teams out there right now. But if they continue to play defense at a little bit better than league average clip, that's good for them. I don't know how much I think that's viable in the playoffs. So we shall see. But Chris, if we got three teams that are that good, there's always got to be somebody on the other side of that coin.
Yeah, we talked about them. You mentioned them. You kind of spoiled it with the huge lead they blew, but it's Orlando, right? You were a lot of people were thinking maybe top 3 in the East this year before the season started, and you are lucky there's some bad teams in the East, otherwise you would be out of the play-in game, or right. So Orlando, you're 2-8 over the last 10. You are not showing up when it's needed most and when it matters most. All right, so get ready for some more lumps before you guys can figure it out.
I'm not advocating for anyone to lose their job here, but like I really think that if there's anyone that's a candidate for a Mike Malone, Taylor Jenkins situation, Chris, if you know what I'm talking about here, where a guy gets fired with just a few games left in the regular season, that seems like out of nowhere, it's probably Jamal Mosley in Orlando, because that team looks like the Walking Dead right
Right. I mean, I don't think he has the locker room anymore, and they don't look motivated at all. And this is a playoff team, and this is
now. It
a
should be.
talented team at that.
I was with you. I don't know if I thought maybe top 3, but you could have convinced me that out of the 4 to 5 best teams in the East, the Magic were certainly going to be one of those 5. I definitely thought that.
Yeah.
Well, you know
Jokers.
what, Chris? Yeah, jokers. But, you know, Chris, you and I had this interesting debate about fantasy basketball, but we're going to skip that because we ended up talking a little bit longer about baseball and Tiger Woods. But that's fine. That's what these podcasts are about. Sometimes you go on a topic and you stick with that one. We are, however, going to do a little bit of wrestling on the other side of a pause here. And it's not going to be led by Jimmy. It'll be led by Chris and I. It's kind of like a tag team. It's the Yeah We Know tag team. All right, coming up here next. Chris and I are going to talk about what happened on Raw.
It's all Danhausen and Dom.
And that'd be good for ratings. That's good for the algorithm. We just hashtagging both of those. We run those clips about those guys. We probably get some views off of that. You know what else might get some views, Chris? The return of the Ring General Gunther. We just talked last week about how he didn't have anything to do for WrestleMania. Normally, Chris, I would say I'm absolutely excited that Gunther has returned, but he returned last night to do exactly what?
Is this another Heyman thing that we don't see yet? I mean, that's the only thing I could put my head around. I can't make sense of why, except for Brock's going down, Heyman's going to be with Gunther.
Yeah, I mean, I've wondered that as well because I couldn't think of any beef that Gunther and Seth have had. You know, I mean, like Gunther doesn't necessarily need a reason to have a beef with you, right? Like he just likes to attack people sometimes. So I guess it's fine. You tell me that Gunther and Seth Rollins are going to fight. Okay, I'm going to watch it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to say, no, how dare you give me a match between these two guys that are absolute tacticians in the ring. But it's just, it seems slapdash together. It bums me out that the guys that they probably were going to wrestle were injured. You can still have Gunther retire Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, I guess. But Chris, speaking of that, what I just said there, that's what has me worried. Should I be worried that Seth Rollins is more banged up in real life than I realize and they're going to retire my boy at WrestleMania?
I'm also worried that maybe Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker are more injured than what we realize too, because we just got the tag belts to what's left of the Vision, and that's all there really is right now. And those two guys aren't Paul Heyman guys. And so how long is it going to be before we see them back? And that's why I think Gunther Heyman, for whatever reason, even though I don't think either one of those guys needs the other. Do you?
Gunther's fair at talking, but he's definitely not great, right? He's not incredibly charismatic, and Heyman is, right? And Heyman now a couple of times has gotten to come out to the ring by himself, right? And last night on Raw, he had that great line, Chris, just a phenomenal line out of the Hall of Famer where he said, I'm the only manager from the 80s and the only promoter from the 90s still standing, right? So, you know, something's going to happen with Heyman. Put him up with Gunther, even more heat for both of those guys. I absolutely love that. Chris, you made mention of it there. We saw a Madison Square Garden street fight between the Usos and the Vision, and shenanigans involving I Show Speed, and the Usos lost the tag belts. Chris, make it make sense.
And it's hard to. I don't know why Logan grabbed on to I Show Speed in the first place to pull him over.
Why were they hiding the brass knuckles as well? That was the other thing I didn't get. Why was everybody trying to sort of semi-hide the brass knuckles? It was a street fight. It's fine if you have
I don't know. I don't know. Why worry about your mom smuggling them in her purse, right? I don't get it, right? And I'm sorry, I Show Speed, you didn't want to be involved. Why'd you put the knuckles on in the first place?
Yeah.
And do you automatically? I didn't know he was a fighter, but like he must have like just sharp cat-like nerves to like turn around and swing as soon as somebody taps his shoulder.
He did. It reminded me
that's what I do, Rod. If you tap my shoulder, you're getting knocked out. I don't care who you are.
You and I lived together in the Petty House for a couple of years. Don't think that didn't happen to me. I walked up behind you and asked if I could add some of that tuna macaroni and cheese, and you socked me. Man, I had a test coming up that next day. I didn't appreciate having a black eye for that one, but that's a story for another time. Here's the other thing that I wondered about, okay? Why do we think we need I show speed in something where you already have Logan Paul and you have the Usos who are supposed to be huge in your world? Like, what is I show speed doing for that feud, do you think, Chris? Or, I mean, clearly I show speed is not in our world, but what do you think he brings to it?
Well, I don't think we can blame, many people except for the fact that we saw him get cursed by Danhausen, right? And this is what happens. You get strung up with the wrong people and the wrong crowd. Next thing you know, you're with Austin Theory and Logan Paul. No one wants to hang out with those guys. And that's what happens when you get cursed, Rod.
Yeah, speaking of cursed, we also know that Grayson Waller is now cursed by Danhausen. And then things went bad for Kofi Kingston and Grayson Waller in their matchup versus Penta. So Penta retained the IC belt as well on that Monday Night Raw in Madison Square Garden. We saw Io Sky versus Raquel Rodriguez. This was kind of interesting to me, Chris, what went down in this match. We saw Io Sky take a loss. What do you think was going on here with Io Sky taking a loss to Raquel Rodriguez?
I don't know. Right? I know you guys have taught me that anything can happen in the day, right? And so I think I like, okay, but then you see patterns and you think things are going to go a certain way and you think people are being used a certain way. I don't know what you benefit from a woman who has consistently been there to lose as somebody that's big and overpowering. Raquel Rodriguez has been there to lose, right? She doesn't get any extra pop for beating EO, right?
Very good
There's no
point.
push for her to get bigger than she is. I don't understand it at all.
It does seem like one of those where it's like, if you wanted to do this Raquel Rodriguez thing, you probably could have did it a couple of years ago before, like you said, she basically lost all credibility with everybody because you had her on her back all the time, right? Did Roxanne Perez returning do anything for you, Chris? We saw her pop in and help Liv Morgan beat the crap out of Stephanie Vaquer. Does that do anything for you to make the Judgment Day seem any more exciting?
I think Judgment Day's more legit with her. You got a workhorse wrestler right there that's willing to do anything. Like, yeah, I'm so happy she's back, right? She won me over consistently last year, outworked just about everybody on the women's side last year. So yeah, give me more Roxanne Perez. She's great.
You do love your wrestlers out there performing for you on Fridays and Monday nights, no doubt. That's why you love your guy Dom Mysterio. So let's talk about it here, Chris. One of the few non-title matches happening at WrestleMania that we know about right now is Dom v. Finn Balor. The revenge for all of the time that Finn spent mentoring your boy, and your boy spits in his face and just wants to fight him and show the constant disrespect that Dom is known for. Chris, what do you think about this matchup that we're now, like 14 days away from? 13, 12, something like that?
Yep, right. And it's been a match that's been made over the last year and a half, essentially, with the little dirty looks in the promos, the tension between the two, him sowing distrust between mommy and then Liv later on, and everything. Like, he's always kind of been in the middle of it, right? So like Dom's knew that this is going to have to happen eventually. Like, he's smart enough to know what's going to happen in the future, and he knew this was coming, so he's been training for it. Rod, this is going to be an easy win for Dominic Mysterio. Now,
Easy win for
that's
Dom.
that's my fan take, Rod.
Okay.
Okay, let me get my inner Jimmy out and like
I'm
talk
excited
wrestling
for
now.
this. Let's go.
All right. So if you don't have Finn Balor win this, what in the world is he going to be doing on your roster anymore? So WWE has to make a decision now. Do you want to keep Finn Balor on your roster, or are we just going to say, no, we're done with this experiment and we're going to have to move on? If you're ready to move on, let Dom win, make it fun, make it exciting. But if you want Finn Balor to make a push towards some type of belt, then he's got to take Dom out.
What if I told you, Chris, that I think what happens in this match ultimately comes down to where on the card it is and how much time they are given. Because if we get a 7 to 8 to 9 minute match between Dom and Finn, I'm a little worried that we're going to have a schmaz and they're just going to push this thing to Backlash or maybe even SummerSlam. But if these guys get a decent position on the card and they get 15 to 16 to 18 minutes to perform, we might see the kind of match you're talking about.
I think if Finn wins, you're definitely going to probably see another match at least. If Dom wins, maybe you see 3, right? And maybe this can work, right? Because this is what Jimmy would have said. He would have told me I was dumb before, and he would have been like, "No, it'll be Dom that wins this. We'll have another match that Finn will win, and then we'll get some sort of Hell in the Cell or cage match or something where we see the Demon come out."
Come back. Am I back?
And I have lost Rod.
No, I think I'm back now.
Okay.
Now? Yes.
Technical difficulties avoided.
See, they've lost me again. All right, come on. Bring me back one last time and we'll get out of here. Darn it, internet.
I got you.
Nope, I'm back. I'm back for a second. Nope, I'm out again.
Yeah. All right, internet. Like, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye.
All right, I may be back. I think I might be back. The thing is recording. Chris, can you hear me? Nope, Chris can't hear me.
Yeah.
Now he can't hear me.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Chris, I want to talk about one last quick match. I'm not sure what you said there. I'm sure it was absolutely brilliant. Another match we know at WrestleMania that is not a title match, but it's on the card. But this one, I'm kind of amazed, Chris, at how much this match has me absolutely excited. And these two men have basically said absolutely nothing to one another. But every time Obafemi and Brock Lesnar are close to one another, I absolutely freak out. Before this Raw, I said, what are we going to do to up the stakes even more? Because we've already seen Oba get the best of Brock. Brock got back on Oba. Oba got him again. I'll be damned, Chris, they figured it out. Triple H came out. Triple H had to come out of the stands and separate these two, Chris. It was fabulous.
I can't wait, Rod. I am more excited for this than any other match right now, right? Literally, I cannot wait. I think Oba squashes Brock within 7 to 9 minutes.
Let's go. That would be absolutely fabulous to see. And speaking of squashing, we have now seen the announce desk of Monday Night Raw go down in successive weeks. Roman Reigns took Punk through it. Punk took Roman Reigns through it. So we've gone back and forth. They're both old. They're both part-timers. They both hate each other. What are we going to have at WrestleMania, Chris?
3 to 4 go to sleeps, a couple super punches, or Superman punches. 5 spears, Roman wins.
So you do think Roman's going to walk out of WrestleMania with...
Yeah.
I tend to think that too, but I also am trying to think of a world where CM Punk retains the belt. In a world where CM Punk retains the belt, Randy Orton beats Cody Rhodes. So I don't think we'll see both belts change hands. So which one would you rather see?
No, they both have to.
Wow. Listen, you know me. You and me are on the same train with Cody, right? I'm not going to ever agree with you on Drew McIntyre. And anytime you try to say nice things about my guy Seth Rollins, it makes me angry. But with
Jimmy's lucky he's not here. Jimmy is lucky he's not here, right? Because this is how bad this story with Corey Rhodes is. All right? They had to bring out Hall of Famer Stephanie McMahon to give this a little bit more juice.
It was nice to see Steph in the ring, but I was a little bit like, Steph McMahon? Really? Okay.
She's still good.
Oh, yeah.
Right? She hasn't, right? She's still good. But, like, that's what we needed. No one else wanted to just see Cody go out there and talk. They needed to have a little bit more, so they brought Stephanie to give it a little bit more pizzazz. That's what they needed. She hasn't had to do anything like that for anybody in, a decade? So...
let's go. Listen, Bad News Brown, Chris. Bad News Brown also, we received word, is going to be in this WWE Hall of Fame class. Are you excited for Bad News Brown making it into the WWE Hall of Fame?
Yeah, him and Sid, they deserve it.
Him, Sid, Demolition, Dennis Rodman, AJ Styles, Stephanie McMahon. What a Hall of Fame class we're going to have at WrestleMania. WrestleMania is just around the corner. Jimmy Jam will be back next week. We promise. Jimmy Jam, you were missed. The NFL draft is just around the corner, Chris. The NBA playoffs are going to be happening here real soon. Heck, Williams is going to be having to talk to us about NFL training camps. It's all ahead of us here on the Morganino Podcast Network.
You don't even know. I'm gonna be putting out World Cup stuff on you, Rod. You're gonna hate me.
Oh my goodness, World Cup!
It's
I forgot
football
about
season.
That. True,
it's
football
season.
True football from
all
Europe.
Right.
LA Knight, you were thought of. Danhausen, you were absolutely thought of. Chris, take us home.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye for good, Internet. Just tonight.
Danhausen. Goodbye, Hausen.
Goodbye, Hausen.
Goodbye, Hausen.
Yes. 20 human dollars, please.
20 human dollars, and that's that.
That's what Phil paid him to never talk to him again.